Welcome to Unit 3. I'll be talking about the theories of community development. Introduction. What's a theory? A theory is a set of ideas that provide explanation for something. So theories are ideas, sets of ideas that explains sets of ideas that explain a phenomenon or something or a problem. Then community development theory. Community development theories can be said to be a set of ideas that provide explanation to issues that bothers community development. As simple as that. So community development theories are essentially social change theories. And they say development. You're talking of change. You can't talk of development without change. So community development theories are social change theories since they provide explanation to occurrences in human societies that brings them goodness, that brings them happiness, that brings them comfort. And then some theorists are concerned with how changes occur and some are concerned with how the change continues. So how the change occur is not same as how the change continues. So if a change occurs in society, what's lead to it? We are coming to that. We talk about some, if, by the time we get to those theories, we talk more on all those things. So this is just to take a kind of introduction on this particular segment. Then those who perceive society or community as basically integrated always agitate for return to that integration. And those that emphasize conflict insist on ending strains and division or pressure to further change. People are of two different categories. There are some who believe that the community is integrated. Integration means that we have different paths. We have different parts, that are working together to ensure that everything functions well in society. And there are some other people that believe that this part too, they are trying to fight against each other. Maybe there are parts that have different ideologies, different views, and they want to dominate and fight the status quo. We are coming to that. That is just a kind of introduction to this section. And theories, we have rule of theories. Theories seek to explain some questions. By the time you get to now, yes, I think at this level, 500 level, within your project, and then you have what they call research problem. So they ask to bring theories to explain your problem. So theories provide explanation to some questions like what is the general consequence of commercialization of agriculture, modernization, and industrialization on rural populations. Yeah, and like how possible is it to identify particular local institution or macro level factors which might be said to inhibit progress of social development? And there can be why is it that within the cultural group or between groups, between group placed in similar circumstances, there has been marked with variations in response to economic opportunities. So these are likely questions that's necessary to explain, and that will become your own research. That will become research you have to work on. Then theories too, they have attributes. The very first one, a theory should be able to provide you with background framework of the type of information you want to collect. So by the time you adapt your theory to your problem, it tells you where research is going and then how you want to, the kind of information you want to work with. It tells you about the farmer, maybe your population, your study areas, of other things. Then the theory should be able to provide you with hypothesis test. By the time want to have, maybe for example, you want to determine the effect of consumption of so crop on the growth of maybe chicken or a rabbit or your livestock. You want to compare the effect of participating in one particular program on the livelihood of farmers that participated. You want to know the effect of particular intervention on the life of the beneficiaries. So that is how theory works. So another thing is it should be able to guide you when you want to set a research problem. Yes, if you want to coin a problem, sometimes you use theory to do that. So we talk about theories of community development. We first talk of evolution theory. Evolution theory has some other theories underneath. And then those that propose evolution theory include Charles Darwin, Auguste Comte, and Max Spencer. And what they mean is that society is progressing from primitive beginning to an eventual perfect state. That the societies keep evolving from primitive stage to what imperfect state. All of us go back to your village and ask questions from the elderly ones. They will tell you what has been happening in that village before. And they will tell some things are even dying, some things are even happening. So society, that village or community has evolved over time from some primitive things to now a more perfect and sociable way of life. Then the very first I talk about structural differentiation theory. Another one was proposed by Max Spencer, Emily Durkheim, and then the set theory and it was further developed by Talcott Persons and Spencer. Then the idea is that when society develops, there is an increasing separation and specialization of institution which must be reintegrated into a new one. Okay, as society develop, there are some other windows of opportunities. There are some wider things that come into play. And then those things that come, maybe for example, now in a place where in the village you have like two or three people in that village, maybe two or three household village. The major work is what farming. If there's development, they may have the fourth one. That one may be buying, it may not involve in farming, maybe that one may be processing the farm products. The another person may come and join that place. Maybe that one is not farming, is not processing, maybe it's selling. You come and pack what the goods there, the press good and go and sell outside. So that is how it comes. So you now see that the more the society or community develops, those differentiation must be reintegrated so I can help that community to progress. We as parents now, if you're a man, you marry the wife, you have a child or you have children, you train your children to level, they have to leave you and find their own world. But it now depends on you. You don't allow them to go and forget about you. You struggle to bring them up, to take care of them, spend a lot of money. So even though they're not with you, they must not forget you and come and do something that will make you happy when you are older and powerless. So that is how it works. So a family takes care of children from that place, children may later leave family to go to school, and from that school he gets a player, get employed and develop himself personally. But and that is when the child will now be reintegrated to be part and a kind of helping the people so that person will not just they say the birds has no reward that to give the mother. The rep always say that the birds say kó dàgbà kó fò lọ òun lè sẹ́yẹ and the birds they have no reward by the time you the maybe the fledglings they call them the fledglings now by the time they grow up they just fly and go and the mother keep taking care of them they lay the egg take care feed them when they grow old they can fly the fly and that will be the end. It's not for human. So that is just the conception. When people grow and they become somebody, they should come back and be integrated in society and show balance. Then we talk about problems. Problems of this particular theory said society may never settle down, as not all members of society will equally benefit from integration. He said, yes, even though what we're saying is that people should be reintegrated to society, so it can bring more goodness. This criticism is saying that sometimes people may not benefit, they may not benefit from that reintegration. In that case, there will not be development that will produce conflict. And in some other occasion, to explain that one further, maybe after people graduate from the university and then they become jobless. In that joblessness, it's expected a working system that the government should see how they can be giving them something and make them part and parcel of society and make them to have a good society. But if after graduation, they are on their own, they cannot get a job, means of livelihood, they start to misbehave, and that's why we have kidnapping, banditry, and then it will not bring orderliness into society. We have experienced that in Nigeria. So the other thing is that authorities may be ineffective in controlling those agents. We have seen what Boko Haram did to Nigerian government for years. They could not overcome them. They said they have been defeated technically, but there are some areas where you get maybe Boko Haram has now been transformed to banditry. So they're still battling with some problem like that in the north. Even though in the south and southeast, you still battle with kidnapping. These things are the effect of joblessness. Okay, so that's so and how can you reintegrate somebody who is a kidnapper or a bandit? You cannot reintegrate them to society because what they are doing is already affecting society. So that is the weakness of this theory, but it has benefit too. The benefit is that the theory is useful for describing development of increasing complexes, of increasing complex types of social organization, which are component of a stated industrialization. Yeah, this theory is best for describing how the society keeps increasing, and how that increase can be a means for industrialization. The society can be a means for what industrialization. If you have two categories in a particular place, and the third one come, you incorporate them. The fourth one come, it will make you to think on how to expand and bring better industry that can help to make things work better in society in that community. Then we talk of equilibrium and conflict theory. The basic functionalist principle of society is equilibrium. And when they say equilibrium, we all know equilibrium to be kind of having a perfect state of stability. Society reacts to change by adjusting in order to restore equilibrium. According to this theory, if the society has reached a level of equilibrium where everything, we don't have them in this country. And for those who have traveled abroad, they see that if a system is working, the doctors they know what to do, and they are doing it. The lawyers they know what to do, and they are doing it. Farmers know what to do, and they are doing it, and they are being paid accordingly. Everybody will always do the right thing. The police, they know what they do and they're being it. But in the case whereby the police know what to do, but want to collect money from you before you can do it, the doctors know what to do, but he want to charge you a very, very big bill because God has brought you to him. He now says upon you to now ask a lot of money from you. And then that is how it is. So that's okay in a working system. In a working system, if the society will react to change to adjust and restore equilibrium in a working system where everyone does what he or she needs to do. If anyone now want to misbehave or not do that thing, society will readjust and so that but in the case whereby everybody is just doing what they like, nobody's even doing the right thing. Society keep the destroying. So according to equilibrium theory, in a place where there is equilibrium, where there's stability, if any organ of society want to misbehave or they are not doing the right thing, society will readjust to so that then conflict will now arise during the process of adjusting to force changes when consensus is important. What you say in this regard is, we talk of equilibrium and conflict theory. In a case where an organ of society is now trying to maybe not doing the right thing at a point in time, or maybe a kind of if there's kind of conflicting ideology within the organ of society, that what will later lead to is conflict. It will lead to conflict. Maybe there'll be a kind of a disagreement, and that is even when consensus is no more important. Maybe the consensus they could not agree to a term. The way we apply this in our own rural setting is that if you have African people in rural community, and maybe the hunters, for example, we have the hunters, we have the farmers, we have the herders, and the herders are not trying to live in accordance. Every time they want to go and eat the crop of the farmers, what will lead is conflict. And then if you try to say they can talk to them and say persisting conflict is inevitable. Then this particular equilibrium theory has its own benefit, and is that it explains gradual long-term change. Equilibrium, everything works better, everything works perfectly, it is to explain, and if everything works, there will be development in the long term. Then adjustment to change does not necessarily tend to immediate return. It tend to immediately return to equilibrium except through conflict. So if there is a change, or if there is a group of people, there's an organ of a community that is not doing the right thing, automatically there may need to be if there may need to call them to attention. If it doesn't work, it may lead to a conflict, and that may take a longer time. So what is saying that adjustment does not come, it doesn't come immediately. It does if there is issue now within farmer and others, as I always say. Up till now, that issue have not been resolved. Every time they call the elders, they take their cow, the elders to go and kill the farmers. We have a lot of stories in Benue, even though in many southwestern countries and many southwestern states. That is the effect. They will talk of conflict theory. Conflict theory. Okay, the very first one is equilibrium theory. This one is now conflict. Conflict, according to conflict theory, change is mainly arising from within a system. In this place, change arises from within the system, not from outside. We are coming to that as well, not exogenous. It's within a system, and then because of what's opposing ideologies or institution. For those who have witnessed these RTAN and the NURT, all these Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria and National Union of Road Transport Workers, they are always at loggerheads. Even though they are all road workers, they're all drivers who ensure that they give us transport operation. But in many occasions, there is always a cause of clash of ideas. It leads to not only them, there are many occasions where in the community or in society, if there are clash of ideas, there's going to be conflict. The conflict is historical necessity which must unavoidably tend to overthrow of system. Yes, the person that's brought this particular idea of conflict, they call him Karl Marx, and what he believes is that there should always be conflict because of what? Because there are some people who always want to exploit the weaker ones. Then, if the weaker ones cannot come together and fight and overthrow those people who are exploiting them, there will not be progress. That's his own view. So they call it the bourgeoisie, that's the capitalist, the rich people, and the proletariat are the weak, the laborers. So the laborers must come together and overthrow and fight the rich people. So at least that's what can ensure, but not only small people, eating or taking advantage of what belongs to others. Then conflict theory perceives economic system as fundamental to society. It must change from capitalism to communism, after which other institutions such as state and social classes can be regarded as no longer necessary. What is saying is that when you talk of capitalism is a place whereby few people they have a lot of money, they have the power, and then they used to use those powers to exploit the poor. They use the power to exploit the poor, and then it always leads to and it leads to what they call inequality. So communism has to be in communism. The people do not own industries. Every industry belongs to the government. The government now used to now take care of everybody. The government take care of everybody. That's what it is in communism. So what Karl Marx is saying here is that those people who have been oppressed, those people who have been oppressed by the capitalists, they must find out oppression and take power from these people, and then ensure. But in many occasions, if there's a revolution that can regard, it leads to a bigger problem. We know of what is happening in Libya and some other countries. They have actually their government sometimes stable. Not all of them. At least you can see what's happening in Nigeria now. God knows what the man knows. So, but that's what Kamal is arguing for. The pressure for change in societies is greatest. Yes, pressure for change is normal. You always, as even though we have in Nigeria, we have one tribe want to override other tribe, and one religion want to override the other religion. So there must always fight to see people always try to resist that oppression, resist one tribe ruling all them when all of us when we are this particular country belongs to us. So that is the conflict theory that there should be there is always because of different ideas or different interests that will always be conflict. And then the struggle emphasizes replacement of the ruling group, especially as mostly as that overthrow ruling group result to destruction of municipal system. Yes, you overthrow the bad ruling. Because you must have that strength to do that. That is what this particular theory is. When we talk about modernization theory, modernization means that before we have talked of modernization, one on this particular side too, kind of is from evolutionarism. Ideas of from the ideas of social engineering. Okay, it says assume that change implies improving social condition of life. If we're talking of change, it has to be you are improving your life condition. Innovation has to do with you are doing the same thing, but it's being done in different ways. That was how we planted before. That's how we plant now. That was how we our transport before maybe with donkeys and camels, but now we now use cars and some other things. So we are getting modernized if we do the same thing, but in different and more comfortable ways. But the major issue here is that what people see as modernism or modernization, that is Euro American centric. So what modernity has to do, what they do in America, if you now do it here now, we say as if we are modern. But what that thing we are calling modern is the way of life of some people. Is the way of life of some people. For example, somebody is developing in a lesbianism, gay, LGBT, and you say that was modernism. So you're only copying some people's ideology or some people's way. And then that's because we fail to decide what they call modern for ourselves. So it is what they do that we now import to us and we now sit as modern. So that when they say that it is Euro-American centric, it is Euro-American centric, and the term they use is what they call Euro-American centrism. Then, and those countries too, they believe that modernizing or developing societies must come to resemble their own. That is why the Western countries continue to share their aid to us. I read some days ago that the president is about to sign a bill about the issue of this LGBTQ that allow the people they can teach that lesbianism, gay, transgender, all those things in our schools. That is the way of the West. And then it is not in regard to it's not like our culture. So, but people see it as organization, but it's being curious. We're coming to that. Like other forms of change, migration can be studied at society and individual level. Yes, society grows when it takes larger territory. Yes, then this provides impetus for migration, interdependence, and transformation of economic and political power. Well, the same with this particular one is that society grow when they increase in size. It grows when they increase in size and density, and that is real growth. That is real growth, and in that case, not just copying what other people are doing and then think as if you call that modernity. Weakness of the theory. Weakness of the theory is that the theory is structurally insensitive to specific ways of factors of growth, such as introduction technologies or markets. Yes, if what you only copy is how people do their things, maybe some things it doesn't talk about technology or a kind of market, a kind of market may be interpreted or modified. So that is the reason of that theory. They're talking about what improves our condition. Just superficial things, and then you do something in their own way, you become modernized. Not talking more on that thing that you need. Then second is that the inequality of power and social class that structure this relationship are virtually ignored. Power inequality and social class, yes, there are some inequalities of power that is happening. Maybe some people are too rich, some people are too poor. And if you talk of social class, some people they are placed in a class whereby you cannot talk to them. You can't talk to them. You can only always follow what they do. So this particular theory is not always talking about that, but this particular theory, the only thing is that it helps to focus more on attention to how ideas, belief system, and attitudes can influence our behaviors and consequently our response to social change. Yes, it can influence our belief. For example, they are bringing atheism, they are bringing a kind of lesbianism, they are bringing a kind of all this gay, all those stuff. Automatically, it will threaten our religion. So that is some other areas. Then we talk about structural dependency and metropolitan satellite relations. For this particular theory, this one hinges more on this one talks more on a process of it said understand the process, understand the processes and problems of organization and development in the third world. Social dependency. This particular area talks of dependency of the third world on what? On developed countries. Dependency of the third world countries on developed countries, and then this is also a socio-historical context of expansion of Western and European capitalism and connection to the third world country by this advanced country. What is being said there is that the Western countries, European, they want to see how they can extend their influence and make the third world country be the way they are. So people believe that yes, the third world country they see us as raw materials. They cannot never allow us to develop because they want to be using us to every time we keep importing from them. And if you want to export our good, they give you some standards. This one does not agree to necessary standard. This one does not meet their own standard. They reject that thing for you. And every time they bring their things, bring it as you must buy it. So they believe that this dependency, they want us to be dependent on them, and that to strengthen the economy and weaken our own. So according to Frank says that Frank is saying that the West are fundamentally opposed to the direction of the underdeveloped countries since they later provide them with raw materials and investment outlets. Yes, he said according to this particular theory, the West does not want the developed country to develop so that they can always use them as a means of getting using their markets. The food, the milk that our children make, a lot of things come from Western European countries. And then all we just do is just to consume without selling anything. It's not to weaken our economy and bring us down. Then there are some phases of development that there are some phases of development as been identified. The very first, this there's somebody called Semester. He says he put forward a model of change. That he say as a combination of conflict and consensus. If there will be change, these things have to be happen. There should be conflicts. Maybe oppose ourselves and fight ourselves for that to be changed. And then sometimes we go a real consensus. We agree to have change. He now came up with three phases of change. Say at each phase, society may react by adjusting to the impetus or showing strains and tension which must be resolved on that stage. If there may be an issue, society can come together and understand themselves, or sometimes they have to fight themselves. So so they have to fight themselves for them to have the change they deserve. We see a lot in Nigeria where there have been fight, there have been fights. Some people trying to free themselves, but it may not be achieved, but some people have achieved their own. So there are some things that can, the effect of change, impetus depend. There are some things that can lead to that change, and that's the content, whether it is suddenly or unexpectedly or piece of gradually. There may be people's structure to change and the level of structural specialization. These are the impetus, and these are the things that the change impetus depend on. Then we talk of the phase one. The very first phase, the impetus for change is assimilated. In this case, maybe if there is issue in society, the community, and people later be able to talk to themselves and agree on by themselves, there will not be conflict, but there will be change. But in the case there is an issue in society or in a community and people disagree, or it will lead to communal war, it will lead to inter-tribal war. And then or if you're talking about within a system and then there is conflict at that stage and they could not assimilate that strength, that issue automatically, it will now put in second, there will be fights, and that fight will now present to what the second stage. And then that at the phase two, that is phase two, and that phase two at that place is seen as the result. The result of this may be recovery, which brings about some relative balance and persistence. Yes, in phase two, the two warring communities or the people in the same system, they may later come to maybe they realize their mistake and let us say harmoniously, how they can live harmoniously, maybe after some conflict, and then the conflict which is either old or unresolved ones. Okay, maybe at that second phase they may recover. They may later maybe come to terms that they kind of they kind of agree with themselves, stop the conflict, or the conflict may still persist and the economy may still persist. Then next, the ability of the society to recover in this phase depends largely on one, how extensive the strain is. If the strain, maybe what they are fighting for is not that something, something that may not be too extensive or something that may not be too important, they can sell, they can assimilate and then get like going. And in case whereby disruptive responses, if how disruptive responses to it have been, so everything may come up with a small issue. The response may be bigger than what it costs. And in that case, those people that you maybe somebody did some small thing, maybe take a small land or misbehave in a way, and then those people now reacted to it, now overreact to those people. So it will make other people to maybe to regroup against them. So disruptive responses sometimes too is what depends. Is what makes us to if actually a strain can be accumulated or not. Then that is on that particular regard, to talk of how availability of command resources to handle it, ability of those in authority to handle socially disruptive behavior. That's for phase two. So if society does not recover at phase two, they still go to phase three. And their accumulated strains are passed on. And then with the expectation of some long-term structural change will occur. There are some communities that have been fighting for ages. No matter how they try to solve it, they will not solve. So it will affect their development. It will affect their development and they affect their progress. So actualization of this expression also depend on amount of strain, resources available to to those um, those who favor or oppose the change, and resultant effects may be stagnation and decline of society. If if a strain or an issue between people continue for a long time, as I've said, it will decline society, make them stagnant and progress. But if they can overcome and assimilate it, it will make them to understand themselves and see how they can progress forward. That is about this particular one. The summary is that so the theoretical basis is needed to be able to explain some dynamics of rural community or development in general. And then on those theories, none of the theories is without problem. All the theories I'm talking about, the equilibrium, the conflict, the stress dependencies, they have their strength and they have their weaknesses. And that is about that. So we can go through our notes and check the questions we ask If you can able to answer those questions, that means you have understand. That means you have gotten you have known what to know. So we meet on the next unit. Thank you for listening.